Hello and welcome to The Bad Show and another bad review. You guys know the drill, we review the latest, greatest and occasionally worst game releases.
Why?
Because we literally have nothing better to do. All games we review start with a score of 10 out of 10 and we deduct points for bad bullshit, corporate greed and lazy developing. But only the best of the best get the Bad Show seal of approval. If you laugh, you gotta leave a like, them's the rules, and you know, subscribe, hit the bell and all that other bullshit we need you to do so we can become YouTube millionaires and give up our day jobs. No, seriously, Derp's Thai bride ain't gonna pay for herself, you know.
What do you mean my Thai bride, you galactic-sized forehead fucker?
Once in a while, when enough salty fanboys have been sacrificed to the gaming industry and the planets are aligned, a game will come out of nowhere and leave us all jaw agape with its awesomeness. Well, I am pleased to announce that this is exactly what has happened with the release of Plague Tale Innocence. Gather round, boys and girls, and let Uncle Balfie spin you a tale. It's a story of love, death, sacrifice, death, family, and death. It's a happy story. Set in 14th century France during the height of the Black Death Plague, you play as young noblewoman-to-be Amicia de Rune. Amicia has always led a privileged and charmed life. That is until the English turn up on her family's estate and savagely murder her parents, before turning their thirst for blood upon the house servants in a massacre worthy of a Game of Thrones wedding. Amicia and her 5-year-old sickly brother Hugo escape the estate to do battle with the elements, hunted by the English Inquisition and violently superstitious villagers. Oh yeah, and there's demonic flesh-eating hordes of rats that will strip the flesh from a man quicker than a tank of ravenous piranhas. Plague Tale Innocence is a third-person cinematic stealth and adventure game from developer Asobo Studios and published by Focus Home Interactive. Remember those guys? Taking inspiration from titles like The Last of Us and Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, but also adding a dash of the kids versus the world flavour that's found in a lot of 80s cult films, you know, like Goonies or The Lost Boys. Right now I know what you're thinking. Who the frack are Asobo Studios? I asked myself the same question, and after some research I discovered their development history. Yep, Pixar games. How the hell did we get here? How did this game sneak under the radar with no hype from an unknown developer and they create a masterpiece? Honestly, I don't care how. All that matters is that it's here and it's putting much bigger studios to shame. And that kind of makes me happy. Up your game and dial down the greed, motherfuckers. You know who you are.
The road is long.
Plague Tale's core mechanics work on a few simplistic levels, exploring the environments you traverse and find ingredients to craft with, using stealth to avoid those who would sooner have your head on a pike than invite you round for tea, puzzle solving, and later in the game, combat, including a smattering of boss fights. The looting and crafting system is almost identical to that of The Last of Us, so if you've played that game, you will feel right at home. You grab everything you can and eventually you'll find a workbench where you can purchase upgrades like making Amicia's sling hit harder or make less noise when you swing it, as well as more carrying capacity for the various tools you'll find along the way. Even the menu system smacks of The Last of Us. I found the stealth element wasn't too harsh, and whilst nothing new or groundbreaking, it was fun for the most part. Using distraction techniques and making use of high grass as well as avoiding all the bright lighted areas can usually help you stay on the right path. However, you do have to take it nice and slow as you have a sickly 5-year-old attached to you for the majority of the time, and whilst you can have him hold back and wait for you to clear a path, if you stray too far from Hugo, he will freak the fuck out, so you don't want him to attract the guard's attention. To be honest, I found it easier just to keep him with me most of the time. The puzzles I found really enjoyable. They usually involve manipulating the hungry rats into eating your foes by extinguishing lanterns and lights, as they only like the darkness. Other puzzles involve lighting the way so our heroes don't become rat chowder, and of course there's the obligatory moving of boxes to climb up onto higher areas. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but fully functional and bug-free. The combat is handled mostly by Amicia and her sling. A good shot to the head will kill most unarmoured guards. As the game progresses, you recruit more kids to your posse, each one bringing new skills to aid you, and one of those is an alchemist's apprentice who teaches you how to make all sorts of nasty shots for your sling. These new skills allow you to put out fires, light braziers, attract rats, and my personal favourite, the acid shot, that causes armoured guards to have to remove their helmets real quick, lest they end up with a face resembling a burnt scrotum. This also leaves them open to getting their brains caved in by Amicia's trusty sling. Later, once the gang has all been recruited, they can all attack enemies on command. However, I don't want to go into any more detail on this, as there would be some spoilers for the plot.
No spoilers!
All of these mechanics are just good when analysed individually, but they come together nicely to create an excellent ensemble. But the MVP of this game is the story and characters. Within the first hour of playing, I was invested in the de Rune children's plight and I wanted them to survive. The game starts off with savagery that children shouldn't be exposed to, but it gets worse as the story progresses, to the point where you find yourself wading through a sea of hundreds of mutilated corpses on a battlefield marred with flies and rats and other filth. I felt for Amicia and Hugo. I cared about them, which is rare these days if I'm honest. In fact, all of the core characters I became invested in. As Hugo's health deteriorates through the story, I found myself wanting to make it better. It sounds crazy and maybe I'm getting soppy in my old age, but I felt the way these kids interacted with each other was so organic, the game just drew me in from the word go.
with a many winding tongue.
Plague Tale is easily one of the best looking games of this generation. The lighting is superb, the textures are flawless, but more than anything it's the care to detail. The dynamic shadows, the volumetric fog, all of it is crafted with an artist's touch. Honestly, it astounds me that a developer that's been wasted making Disney throwaway titles has just dropped a game this crisp and well made. It's my understanding that this team is only 45 people strong. Just think about that for a second. BioWare had 800 staff in-house when developing Anthem, and even if only 400 of those were actually on the Anthem project, that's still 10 times more resources than what was available to this game. And this team could teach the big boys a thing or two about care to detail. I have only one gripe, and that's that the PC version does not support 21:9 ultra-wide resolutions. That's it, otherwise Asobo scored a full house. As good as it looks, the audio is also fantastic. Everything from the periodical classical soundtrack to the atmospheric ambient sounds. Everything is crisp and clear and it all adds to the immersion. And the goddamn voice acting talent. For the core characters, it's bloody phenomenal. It really is amazing what Asobo have managed to pull off here. The dialogue is well written, the cast pull off emotional performances without overacting, and they didn't even have to hire Troy Baker or Nolan North. Thumbs up, guys.
It's a long, long road.
So to summarise, Plague Tale Innocence is the sleeper hit of 2019 as far as I'm concerned. Brilliantly written, directed and masterfully constructed. If you like story and character driven titles like Last of Us or Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, this is a must buy. I would love to see more from this developer in the future, maybe like an RPG in the same vein as The Witcher. Who knows? More please. So the final score for Plague Tale Innocence? 9. 9! Out of 10. 0 fucks given, I'm giving it the seal of approval as well. This right here is Game of the Year material, and 3 months ago nobody even knew it existed. Do not sleep on this game, guys. Balf out.
Oh wait, I spelled tie wrong.